simple
Um,
mechanics, where the damage wasn't high enough and the tank wouldn't. I was in leeching, which is a selfish tank set, and I couldn't die, and I couldn't reset the instance, so I had to log out.
I see.
Mm,
Yeah. So talking about the
yeah,
healing, I will say this is I think I had a brain freeze. What was I gonna say? But the
the
healing.
buffs and the you were asking about how is it about? Do I like doing the buffs and damage more with the healing than strictly heals?
Oh
Like,
yes,
because like you said, you have a resto bar. Pretty much everything on that resto bar is going to be able to heal the group. If it's set up.
exactly.
So the other bar, your damage bar, is meant to do damage and buff them. Buff them, buff them, buff them. So,
Yeah. Now, okay. Oh, yes. So here's another problem that happens with healers,
mm-hmm.
and when you're experienced, you know a little bit better. And this is where kind of being vocal helps, because for example, someone like Mel, for example,
Mm-hmm.
Mel's very vocal.
Yes.
There's no one who's gonna shut her up. Like
Mm-mm.
you get some DPS be jerkish with her. That's just not gonna fly with
She'll
her.
cut their throat. I
We,
know.
we she's and that's one of her. Yeah, but when you have a newer or even more quieter healer, they want to please the group, and
Yeah.
sometimes they don't realize that the biggest importance with support is you have to sometimes be vocal. Sometimes you there's things that you're not gonna be comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
It was hard. It's still hard sometimes to speak up and tell people, that they got to do certain things and everything. You don't want to be rude to people. You want to make sure your tone's not, you know, inappropriate with them. And like you said, sometimes it's hard to communicate with others because of the way everybody learns differently. So like I'll explain something one way, but you might explain it in a simpler way that somebody else might understand better. So it's knowing how the group learns, and that's what cores and stuff are about though. You guys work as a team every week, doing the same stuff, beating your head on the same wall, until you get the synergy correct so that you guys can do it effectively. But that takes time. When it's a pug or it's random, it's always worse. It's always worse. But those are also the things that teach you the most. Pugs and I think traps and pugs are one of the best ways to learn things.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Also trying to stay humble.
yeah,
And that's what I try to do because
we all started
I'm
somewhere.
not. Yeah, and I'm not the easiest to deal with.
Right. I'm
But
not
one thing
either.
is to I do try play in other cores,
hmm
and the reason for that is because I always try to learn and also understand what people are going through.
Right.
So for example, like I'll be in other cores where one thing is, after being a leader in our own garage team, I realized that it's not easy. It takes a lot of work, effort
hmm
behind the scenes that many people, even in our own team, don't
Oh,
realize
it's rough.
or appreciate.
Right.
Even the meetings and stuff is not the most comfortable thing to do all the time.
Mm-mm.
And so when I go to another core, the core teams I'm in, even if I disagree with the raid leader, um, I respect them,
Right.
and whatever they want me to do, I do them, and that has taught me some humbleness that is not so easy. You're
No.
you're dealing with people. People have different ways. Just like I might disagree with that person, someone might disagree with me,
Right.
and you just try to get a boundary like, hey, all right, how can we compromise about this? How can we do it better? Because at the
Right.
end of the day, you're just trying to get the victory.
hmm And it's keeping that in mind. You have to be flexible. There's times where it's hard to be flexible or you can't be flexible. But generally, if you guys are like what cores, like you're saying, if you work together continuously on the same thing, it's going to be easier than doing situations where it's like a pug situation or a trap. I've had a lot of great experiences with good healers who everything that have just talked me through things to almost standing next to me and helping me heal things. And both experiences are different, but both you learn a lot in. So it's just it's figuring out how you learn best and trying to figure out how to implement it into the game. So, and
Oh
finding the people you
yes,
communicate best with. Like I have good friends that I strictly go to learn about gear and stuff because they'll explain to me how it all stacks up. Like I have an issue with not learning how if I put this set on with this skill, how it's going to stack for like crit chance and stuff like that. Things like that. So um, I talk to my friend because he's able to explain it in a way that I'm able to understand. But like if I have healing questions, I'll talk to Mel, for instance, or I'll talk to some of my other healer friends because they have a better understanding of that sort of thing, you know. If I want to find out about how to do fun builds, you know, where I'm just messing with different gear sets and just trying different things, I talk to Blood because he's really good at that sort of thing. So it's finding the people that are the things that can help improve your game because and learning what you can in the game that you like the most, so you can share that knowledge back to them, you know, in some ways too,
Oh,
because
you
everybody helps each other, you know.
oh, you said blood. Which